Today, I want to share 3 other things I learned while playing fighting games. And not like, I learned this difficult combo and wrecked my fucking opponent. More like general life lesson type of stuff. Specifically, I'll talk about free will, relationships, and self-acceptance. As you start a match in a fighting game, you are posed with many options. Jump, move forward, move back, crouch, simply stand still and block, or try out one of many attacks. So, playing fighting games well becomes much about recognizing which situation you are in, followed by producing the most appropriate response to that situation. There are 2 main ways to learn this process of recognition and application. One is that you can elect to learn things through experience. When you do something a lot, your experiences will tell you what has and has not worked for you. Now, the problem with that approach is kind of hidden in that sentence right there. For you. Meaning that if your environment is filled with bad players, then all you learn is how to beat bad players. To counteract this, you can do the second approach, and that is by learning through theory. We can find data based on how things work and theorize. We can become aware of our actions and start to base our decision making on calculated knowledge. Now here's the thing, many of you will probably be nodding along like, oh yes, you have the intuitive approach and you can also do the theoretical approach. I do that all the time, I interweave them quite efficiently if I say so myself. But honestly, most people don't. And yeah, your environment will always play an essential part in whatever you do and what you learn. But the point here is that you do not need to be a victim of your environment. Or in other words, we can actively think about what we do and go from options we are unknowingly adhering to options we are knowingly choosing. And this can be in anything. Anything. So I can choose to talk in a different accent if I want to. I can elect to talk a little bit faster. Or I can choose to slow down my speech. Or I can lower my voice if I want to. Or I can choose to talk like a pirate all day. You can basically apply this to any activity. Which, next to straightforward options like which buttons you press and how you talk, can also include more complicated things like how you choose to learn. Just think about it. There are so many strategies, so many options you can choose within so many aspects of studying. In many areas of life, we will find different options we choose amongst. But the good thing is that once this understanding is built, you can start applying it to everything in your life and create an eagle-eyed vision of the many options in any type of situation. That could be a specific situation in a game, but it can also be applied to the things you really care about. If you were to play the same character as your opponent, you can assume that the very first second you and your opponent each control 50% of the match. Everything is perfectly equal. They even call this a mirror match in fighting games. But usually you'll face a different character. A character who can threaten his opponent from this far away will get more control over the match from the get-go. However, for balancing of the game, these characters are generally weaker at short range. So if this character does manage to come close, then the control will shift. When we are in an interaction with another person, we have aspects that influence our control as well, going from personality to physical strength to social positions and sometimes just mind games. But just keep in mind that at a first interaction, you both have a portion of control. In fighting games, you leverage this control to find advantageous positions to beat up your opponent. In life, you can actually leverage control in positive ways. You can take control and apologize. You can take control and forgive. You can take control and plan a nice surprise or talk to or invite the person you want to see to do something together. Or on the flip side, if you don't want to see someone anymore, you can take control and get out of that relationship. You know, you can just say,
fuck you and fuck off.
In the same way that I can only control my character when I play a game, I try to approach life in that same way as well. So ultimately, I have one controller, one character assigned to me, and I'm just going to play him as well as I can. When playing fighting games, I realized something very important. Either you are in deep focus trying to destroy your opponent, Or you are in a completely different headspace, theorizing, just playing around, testing things, thinking about things that might or might not be relevant to your current game. The thing is, if your opponent is good, you need all your headspace to go into winning and nothing else. So for when I play someone good, I have created this mindset where I just completely zone in on something, and it sounds something like this. I have practiced a lot. I've religiously and passionately honed my skills. If I fail, if this opponent can both find and exploit a weakness in me, then I am at fault. May the best player win. It's almost like placing a product, like boom, this is me. If it's good enough, it's good enough. If not, then not. It's just a neutral acknowledgement of things as they are. So by just learning this mindset of like accepting the current state, I just have something really strong that I can apply in my life. Anytime I get a little bit scared, I just get to go, this is it. Let's just see what happens. So yeah, in this roundabout way, I ended up finding a nice way to accept things as they are about myself. So self-acceptance. Yeah. And that's all there is to it. First, we had some free will choice theory introduction, and the main message was not to be a slave to your environment, but to learn how to take control, to view the options, and go from options you are unknowingly adhering to options you are knowingly choosing. Then we had relationships in which each person controls a different part of the interaction. 50% from both sides would be a perfect relationship, but anywhere in that ballpark is fine. But ultimately, you have some control in each relationship. And even if it's little, try taking your portion. And finally, I briefly talked about not getting distracted by ego, fear, and other distractions, and just allowing yourself to perform as well as you realistically can, but just accepting the current state.
Not that it's any of your business, but fuck you and fuck off. And leave me to my lotions. Up, the floor just cracked. I believe I might fall.